And make sure you get flutes in the chat, because it is time for everybody's favorite segment, so nice it turned into its own show. And it is called Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. And probably no bass Meltzer, but we'll play the flute one time. And they go 1730 of tonight's Observer. Dave, if you're WWE, then actually the one thing you don't want to do with the big show is come right after a big AEW show on the same day, on a Saturday afternoon before an evening WWE pay-per-view. And he also said 32 minutes in, if Rusev had played his cards right, he could have been a big star in AEW. Bro, nobody's a big star in AEW. You need to understand that. Nobody is. They know they have the smallest platform. No one gives a but that's sort of to say, like, they've never homegrown a star. But listen, the wrestlers who go there, unless, like, yes, is Joe a star? Is Edge a star? These guys who were in WWE and became stars, yes, man, for sure. As far as like a star, like if they main event with Fletcher and Bandito, are they still going to do 1,800 people or 1,000 or like 990 whatever people at that esports arena? Yes. So like a star for their cut. Sure. Nobody's like blown up and done anything crazy. At the beginning, you're coming off the backs of Jericho, Omega finally being in America, the Bucks finally being in America primarily. And I know they were in America, but like primarily, like they're not just Nuge Ring of Honor guys, like on American television. You know, you had Cody Rhodes' big return to TV. It was off the back of all of these, this big boom. They're in Hot Topic and right. And the reason there was a boom is because those guys were going viral on the internet. Once you put them on TV, the mystique just went away, and you saw what Tony's booking was. It's ass. And you see how everything was compartmentalized, and they weren't really organized and weren't ready for this. It was garbage. It was just a glorified indie. And they just proved that. That's all it is. So at the start, there was a big boom. But as time has gone on, it's just less and less and less and less popular. What is there to cope over? Or how is Rusev a bigger star? How would he have been a big star if when he started there, 800,000 people were watching the show, and now 430,000 people watch the show? You know what I mean? Is that a bigger star, or is that like a worse star, and that's why he didn't get involved in that? And you're dumb. And Rusev was already a star. Tone wanted him to go get 50-50 booked and put over Orange Cassidy and Daniel Garcia, and he's like, I'm not doing that. Sorry. I'll wrestle Andrade and Hobbs and stuff, right? I'll do a meat match with Hobbs. I'm not doing this goofy. And then he preserved his stardom, Dave. I'm curious, because I don't think you know what a star is based off the way you buried Billy Gunn. And then Dave just saying, him and Brian are stuck on this. I told you, don't do a PLE on the same day as AEW. He's like trying to warn them. And why is he saying this? Well, he's just painting a sicko narrative. He's trying to call something that isn't there before it happens. So he's just creating a narrative. That's all he's doing. So he's creating this narrative so that people will go and parrot and repeat this shit out there. And then when you Google, like, this is the problem too. If you Google search shit, Observer comes up, Fightful comes up, whatever. If they're all hating on the Fed or like leaking shit out, then everything's leaked out. If Dave is putting out this narrative and he's been the guy reporting on news for 50 years, so people go, oh yeah, it's reputable, like a casual, someone who's like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, they might look up Dave Meltzer and then they might read this shit. Oh, it's a bad idea. It hasn't worked out for them. Meanwhile, look at the global numbers. AEW's global numbers don't touch WWE's global PLE reach at all, period. We just got those numbers. Dave hasn't even made a tweet breaking them down or talking about them. He just operates on Nielsen's a lie, Netflix is a lie. So then when I operate on Dave is a liar, that's not allowed.
You know, you goddamn liar!
All of a sudden, that's not allowed, and I'm just an asshole and a loser for A-logging this asshole. Like, no, you. Like, this is just flat out lies, dude. People have to undo the 50 years. There's 50 years of your bullshit I got to undo, Dave. 50 years of your shit I got to undo. In limited time. I'm not going as long as you, buddy, okay? I'm not pumping my bullshit out there as long as you. That's for goddamn sure. No. So moving along here. just on the whole WWE versus AEW narrative stuff and WWE PLE. We're just going to mix and match. So this will just be WWE, AEW stuff as it relates, just a little mix and match here. So Dave Meltzer buries the promotion for Royal Rumble. And so it's funny. This is hilarious too. Nobody else is going to point this one out either. This is me psychoanalyzing, Dr. Phil psychoanalyzing as only I can when it comes
just
to Dave
in, we have confirmed that Dave Meltzer fears PWT and flutes.
Dave is about to talk about how shitty the promotion is for the Royal Rumble and how shitty WWE's promotion's been for cards in general. And he's talking about, they're falling into UFC territory where they don't even have to promote and they just whatever. So again, Dave makes the excuse all the time for AEW that, well, this show's promoted better. WWE promotes way better. It's all their promotion. They're promoting, their promotion, they're promoting. In 2025, the whole narrative for Dave, he's responded to like, AEW drew this much. WWE was just there for a live event, drew this much. And Dave goes, because of the promoting. He's chalked it up to that a billion times. We've covered it here on this show in PWT. So now Dave is going, they're terrible at promoting WWE. And it's like, okay, so now why isn't AEW, why aren't they out there on the marketing trail and catching up? Instead, they're fucking firing their marketing guy and all this shit. And then they just fired their guy who does all their live event stuff and the video game shit as well. He just left the fucking company. So it's like, it's just so funny how, okay, the marketing's bad for WWE. Let's say, quote unquote, it's bad. Why isn't there a dip? Because they're fucking crushing it. Everything's firing on all cylinders. I know people don't like, they just think it's like, you just love the Fed and shit. Yep. It gave me like all the best wrestling memories. And so did WCW and ECW growing up. And guess what? They own those shits. So, yep, I kind of like what they're putting out there. I'll fucking be the first to bury SmackDown. You guys got to listen to my fucking shows. Right? If you want to hear me bury that shit or look at my tweets where I'm or I put over AEW posters and shit all the time. And AEW does some good stuff. They hit up people to make posters and then they put out these cool like fight posters. I think that's cool. They do some cool stuff. I don't think they're partnering with like White Castles. I think that's all good. I think they're commercials of like where wrestlers work, blatant rip-off garbage trash. Or you're like trying to be the opposite of the old where wrestlers work. People just picked up on it. It just doesn't really, and then they fired that guy anyways. That guy's not with AEW anymore. Some of the shit they do is just completely stupid. Why are you fucking promoting the Rizzler and then you have Moxley getting impaled and Darby Allin like literally impaled with a spike bat in his back, and then Darby Allin's being drowned in fish bowls, and like, why would you do that? That literally does. And then you have girls making out and fucking slapping each other on the ass with pork chops and stuff, literally like doing mashed potato spots and stuff. Like, it's fucking cringe, man. That's like, or having MJF like fake wank off on the crowd when it's like, okay, so was the Rizzler on this card or not? Is that, can you, I don't know if you can do that in the same room as a child. I'm not sure if that's appropriate. And then you have Tony Khan going, it's family friendly. And then you have WBD emailing people back who've written in to Warner and shit, or HBO Max. They write back, yeah, no, it's not family friendly. Like, they use gratuitous violence or whatever words they used. That might be the vernacular, the terminology they use, like gratuitous violence. We urge family parental guidance or whatever with AEW. But then Tony's, it's a family product. And you got guys like doing hypodermic needles and ladies doing death matches and shit, stapling vaginas and shit. And that's cool. Like, if you want to be edgy, but like, be that. Don't try and gaslight me and go, we'll bring the Rizzler in because we think it's going to get us YouTube views to stick them on the pre-show. When the Rizzler and them don't get YouTube views when they do their pod and shit on you. Like, those guys are falling off too. Hey, like, I don't know if Tone knows that. But anyways, man, here's Dave's assessment on the promotion. And it's just so funny that, again, like, if WWE, they're promoting too well. Now they do this crazy Riyadh show that's going to be super well attended, and there'll be lots of tourism there as well because they're just funneling it in. And Dave wants to talk about the tourism of people going to Mexico to watch Mystico. And he goes, people don't understand tourism. And it's like the tourism in Riyadh's crazy. People are going there paying a premium to see WWE. Every city they go, people are paying out the fucking ass to see these shows still. And maybe it is in UFC territory where they don't really got to try. It's just the brand itself will sell itself. But it's like, why can't you admit that earlier when that's the case? And instead of coping over AEW doing less than a house show in a city only because of marketing. Ooh. And then when I trash the marketing, I'm an asshole. No, it's fucking bad and corny. Don't just put up banners where there's WWE's doing shows. Like, it's cringe, you know? And then Dave reports shit like he wasn't at WrestleMania, and then he's like, yeah, people there at Mania were saying the crowd was really uncool and really angry and just hated AEW and shit. It's like, what? Like, why would you just make that shit up? He's always just talking out of his ass, and he can never just say, well, it's because it's WWE. They're the clear number one. They're crushing it. Their stories are on point. Everybody wrestles at the highest level. And yeah, the booking and the storylines are clearly fucking on point. And even the stuff they fall short on, there's enough good shit. The shit they fall short on is the exception. Whereas in AEW, the shit they fall short on is the rule. Like, the stuff they knock out of the park is always an exception. And it's not a coincidence that the stuff they've knocked out of the park typically involves CM Punk. Cody Rhodes was doing good shit. Jericho at the beginning was doing good shit. MJF's done good shit, but again, with Jericho and with fucking, he's sort of resting on his laurels, I think, till he gets out of there. But anyways, I'm talking too long about this, but it's just funny to see Dave coping about promotion again. Like, why would this be a bad thing? It's good that pro wrestling and WWE so popular that feds can pull up and on their name alone sell out. If you're a pro wrestling fan, Dave, truly, you should love this. Okay? You should absolutely love this. And you know the event's going to have shock. The crowd's going to go nuts. You know that some matches are going to crush it. Like AJ's going to crush it in a one-on-one with Gunther. He might even retire. Some tears might be shed. The Rumbles always rule every year. Sometimes the matches can be a little wonky, but if they, hopefully they pull them off without a hitch and there's fucking some shock returns, maybe a couple legends. Like, be happy for this. Why are you fucking miserable and always shitting on everything WWE does?
This is the weakest promotion I've ever seen for a Royal Rumble show in my life.
It was they had a few years with Vince there near the end that they did a pretty poor job, but this I think takes the cake.
I don't think it's weak. I think that they knew it's like a sellout and it's like this big Saudi event, and I think the whole thing with the Rumble is it's just a draw automatically. So you sort of have to transition to that and you go, okay, look, I don't like how they announced all the people that were going to be, like, they announced like, here's 20 motherfuckers that are going to be in the Rumble, but it's like they're trying to get people used to the fact that we have stars. Like, we invest in these guys. We put them on Netflix and shit. Everybody we keep contracted to us is a long-term or 3 to 5 years, right? As Cena and Heyman and other people would let slip. And as your boy Phil's been saying forever before Unreal Daddy, but at the minimum 3 to 5 years, right? But you're looking at like long-term investments, and you're looking at like, again, you don't just bring people in. Penta's a great example. You don't just bring him in and he blows up right away. So you have him beat everyone and shit. You kind of still give him that build up, and you have Punk, Rhodes, Drew, Roman, Brock. Like, you have just like right there. That's a crazy, if I could build a roster, you give me those guys right there. Hell yeah. We're going to the fucking moon. And then you have possibly like Jericho coming back. Penta's becoming a star. He is a star. He's a star on Netflix, to say the least. Say the very least. He's consistent. Penta's on the net. Think about this, man. Penta went from being fucking just shelved just because to every week he's number one on Netflix. Really think about that.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Like, Penta rules. But anyways, yeah, it's just like you have to transition into this. And what WWE's trying to do is they're trying to get everybody used to the notion that we have all the stars. Like, we got 28 guys and we might bring one legend back. Like, don't get used to the Rumbles just being Vince would have the Hurricane come out, and then, Cena comes out, the Hurricane comes out, Edge comes out, right? Like, he's done Rumbles where it's just ridiculous, the amount of surprises and shit like this, quote unquote, if you want to call it that. And then some years it works out where the Rumble has a bunch of them because the WWE roster, like in the past, there was a couple years where the roster was a little thin. There were like contracts up and shit like that. And now, WWE's open to more like one-offs, but you don't have Joe Hendry come in and like actually win the Rumble. Maybe one of these times. And maybe he's not a good example because he's officially in WWE now, but you guys get what I'm saying. Like, they want you to get the last couple Rumbles have been consistent in that there's some shocks, but also here's our 30 fucking stars. Otis is one of our stars. You're going to get him in the Rumble, They want you to be used to that and that's why they're drawing so well, because everywhere they go, people want to see like the stars of Raw. It is really Vince put that into motion and did try to make it no one superstar is bigger than the promotion. But what Vince, I don't think, realized is like you can have both. You can have a healthy balance of both. I'm not saying Roman's bigger than WWE, but if he eclipsed it one day, there's a possibility with his Hollywood opportunities. The Rock is more famous than fucking the Federation itself, you could argue, but maybe not, because look at the YouTube numbers and shit. So who really knows at this point? But all I'm saying is that Dave just doesn't evolve with the fucking times, and he doesn't realize, like, yeah, they work themselves into a great position where Money in the Bank's a draw, War Games a draw, Rumble's a draw, Mania's a draw, SummerSlam's a draw. They're just a draw. People trust will put on a good show, and WWE knocks it out of the park. Let's be honest.
I mean, they promoted so little, and then this preposterous storyline that Finn Balor can't get in.
Oh,
Come on. Finn Balor can't get in is so ridiculous. By the way, did you hear about Javon?
He's in.
He declared during the commercial break.
Yes, that's his gimmick. He does everything during a commercial break, so nobody in this country can see it.
Yeah, but anyway, that's
great gimmick.
But yeah, Finn Balor can't get in after being in that great.
Yeah, so again, they don't understand that Javon Evans has appeal with youngsters, and he has appeal to like more of a youthful audience. Okay, guys? And so the stuff that goes international, what you're doing is you're building a good international base for the kid. And then at the same time, the commercials just get uploaded to social media. So Javon, they save it for the commercial, and then his clip goes on the Twitter right away, and his clip goes up here. Look what he had to say on the TikTok and the Instagram, because he's got appeal to people who are fucking using social media and stuff. Like, you don't even have to be a marketing wizard to understand things like this. It's just common sense. But Dave and them don't get this. They just can't, because you're fucking just old and out of touch, motherfucker. I'm not saying all old people are out of touch as my references over here. But Dave, these guys are just cooked, man. They don't realize like what the marketing strategy is here. They don't get it. They just think good marketing is like, okay, team up with the Rizzler and stick Orange Cassidy with him. Okay, yeah, team up with Superman and then have Orange Cassidy walk in and give a thumbs up to Superman. Fucking okay, team up with White Castle and Orange Cassidy's gonna eat a cheeseburger and pretend not to care. Like, it's not working.
World title match last week,
dude. This is the go-home show for the Royal Rumble. It ended with Finn Balor laying out the world champion, even though he's not on the show. He's not in.
So it's almost like an angle they're shooting. Like, how come these guys take kayfabe and the show like it's a shoot? Like, they pretend WWE's really doing a shoot. They pretend he's not on the show. So maybe he takes someone out and then takes their spot. Maybe he runs out and eliminates someone while not being involved in the match. Maybe the winner, who I think is going to be Jacob Fatu, goes after the WWE title, which it seems like he's eyeing up. And then Finn goes in the chamber and wins it and challenges and brings out the demon at WrestleMania and challenges CM Punk or some shit. Or it's like a multi-man or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe the chamber, they put the title on the line at the chamber even. No, I don't like that. I like the chamber winner gets the shot, last-ditch effort. But either way, why is that? This is a real TV show where they're trying to misdirect me. And it's like, what the fuck, guys? These two fucking bozos just have a real gripe with, like, being worked. They just can't stand being worked.
the Rumble.
Well, they should.
What?
Normally, if I would say normal booking, and they may do this, they haven't announced it, is they add Punk and Finn Balor to the Rumble card and make it a better card. I mean,
Make it a better card. Ugh.
That's certainly.
They could do that, though. That's not a bad idea. I'll give Dave points, but yeah, I just think this will all result in. So the Elimination Chamber last year was like winner faces the WWE champion. So I have a feeling this year it's going to be winner faces the World Heavy. And then I think Jacob Fatu wins this fucking Rumble. That's who my money's on, guys. I don't know about you all. Make sure you tune in Sicko Saturday, and we're going to watch that shit live together. The Rumble come together right now in Riyadh.
For a normal situation, the only reason I say they may not do that is because the Rumble's got 4 matches, and those 2 matches are going an hour each, so they really don't need a 5th match.
Yeah, we'll get some like celebrity interacts with Dom Mysterio or some shit. So Dave talks about WWE a little bit more, and he talks about Trick not being good in ring. And then he just goes, but his charisma, Brian.
Trick's not that good.
Man, how many guys is he going to say aren't that fucking good on this show? Lex, how many guys aren't good?
I don't know!
Holy fuck, man. Trick is better than whoever Dave thinks is good. I guarantee it.
Which really becoming more obvious when it's on the main roster. I think the thing with Trick is that you got to keep it short. You got to keep it short because he didn't have a good match. He had he's having average matches at best, but his charisma is off the charts. And so, I mean, the whole thing is you got a guy with that much charisma. You play to his charisma, and you don't have him in the ring for long periods of time, because.
Well, unfortunately, Dave, he's a fucking megastar, and he's about to be a megastar, and he's fucking in there working with all the top guys already, and he's in the WWE title division picture immediately, and they want to get that across.
That's, you don't let the match go long. It starts getting sloppy at the end.
In AEW, every match goes super fucking long, and he claps and is like, oh, this is amazing. And apparently that's the best show with the best wrestling. So now you're like, don't let his matches go too long. And why don't you just shut the fuck up, Dave? You don't know what works.
And just go short, make it an easy, simple match. Because that as a main event. Plus, it was in the main event spot.
Trick's everywhere. That's the one thing with Trick too. He has great charisma, Dave. He's always where he needs to be. His timing's good, and he's always where he needs to be. Is his selling the best? No. Is his fucking like the way he does his moves? Is it like the cleanest, smoothest, crispiest guy of all time? No. But yeah, charisma off the charts. Can cut a promo. Knows where to be, gets the pacing, can work with these guys, has stepped up to the plate already with all these big ass fucking names he's in there with. I'd be nervous as fuck, dude. He's been knocking it out of the park.
Followed the Ilya match, right? So that didn't help him either. So, but it wasn't like just technically, like he was good on in the 4-way, but the 4-way, you had awesome workers in that 4-way. Everyone but him basically. But in that singles match with Priest, it wasn't that good. So, and the thing also to me, it didn't have much heat, and that's Montreal, which is a city like
dude, Grok Meltzer, like it's not even him, it's Grok's fucking, it's Dave's brain being taken over.
It wasn't that good. So, and the thing also to me, it didn't have much heat, and that's Montreal, which is
why does that always happen to him? I swear the man's like a fucking bot. Like he's one of those fucking Chinese robots with like Meltzer's skin pasted over it. Like what the fuck, dude? Why does that always happen to him?
City like Toronto tonight, where you're usually going to have a lot of heat.
Montreal was hot with the whole fucking card throughout the whole card, Dave. But the thing is, like, you're not going to have a lot of heat with Trick because he's just started 2 weeks ago or a week ago. So you're not going to have a lot of heat on anything Trick's doing. And everything had heat in Montreal. They were going crazy for everything. It's just such a bad criticism.
Those 2 cities in Canada, really all of Canada, they're real good cities for crowd reaction when it comes to wrestling matches compared to the U.S.
Yeah, they just don't get, in Canada, we don't get all of the tippy top WWE shit all the time. Speaking of people developing, though, like Brian Alvarez and Dave even had it out. Trying Brian and Dave fucking had a bit of a tiffy. And Brian Alvarez says, actually, you have to look at reality and not just theory or on paper results. Fact is, with only a few exceptions, everyone remains in the exact same place on the card that they've been for years. Yeah, everyone's stuck in the mud in AEW. And then Dave Meltzer goes, yep, everyone except Bandito, Ricochet, Gates of Agony, Brody King, Hechicero, Clone, Fletcher, Takeshita, Knight, Bailey, O'Reilly, Swerve, Prescott, Willow, Windsor, Cameron, Storm, and Shafir. Okay, so Bandito is the exact same place he's always been on the fucking card in world title matches. And if sickos want to come and argue to me, but Phil, ROH world title matches aren't AEW world title matches. That okay, but the problem is that when I point out that none of these guys are world champions, and I bring up Bandito and Takeshita in AEW, all the sickos jump on me and go, but Phil, he's an ROH world champion. He was literally just a New Japan world champion shit. So no, fuck you. Bandito is just in title matches randomly. Tag title, world ROH title. He's fucking fighting for the world title. He just fights for titles randomly. Okay, so he's in the same spot. Ricochet's in the same spot. Just because you invented a random belt, gave it to him, and now he's also got to work Ring of Honor shows, that could be a demotion. Just because it's a belt doesn't mean you're in a greater spot or position. A belt just being a physical thing that exists doesn't elevate you automatically. Dave doesn't understand that. These fucking video game sicko goober marks don't comprehend this. A belt doesn't automatically give fucking clout, you know? Becky Lynch has to come in and elevate the women's IC title, for instance. You can put it on Lyra or whoever first, doesn't matter. You got to put it on someone who can give the belt clout, and then from there, people can elevate it, or it can elevate people, depending. But it's what you do with the thing. So Ricochet, all he's done has been a fucking mid-card, mid-lower guy who's also in ROH, and that's all he's doing with that belt. Same spot. Gates of Agony. They were in a team, and now they're in a team with Ricochet. Same spot. No titles. They're not booked any higher or lower on the card. Brody King. Okay, maybe he just is challenging MJF now. And maybe, but he won tag belts with what's-his-face, Buddy Matthews and them, and the trios belts and all that. And then he's won a tag title with Bandito, and then now he's going after the world title. So maybe him, but after the one match, does he just go back down the card? I mean, realistically, he was just tag champ. He was tag champ his entire existence in AEW. So that's the same. Hechicero, what the fuck are you talking about, Dave? Hechicero's sloppy in AEW, and no one gives a fuck. Like, literally, you are the only person who gives a fuck. No one cares about Hechicero. Maybe in CMLL they care. No one gives a fuck. Clone is in a better position than he was last year. First off, he's had probably less than 10 matches. Secondly, no one knows who the fuck he is either, and he's just a random mid-lower guy who hasn't even had a lot of matches, who's a knockoff version of another guy who had a bunch of matches on Collision, who's also in the same spot. Fletcher. Okay, maybe since he came in, he was like a backup tag team guy. And then, yeah, he's in the conversation of like, I would like to see Fletcher in the world title picture. He's been there. Okay, you got one. Takeshita. Yeah, he's in matches that I guess, like, again, New Japan world champ, and then like fighting Okada and like being in the mix with Omega. Like, okay, if those are your top guys, yeah, he moved up the card. Like, he came in kind of like just kicking mid guys' asses, and then he's just slowly kind of worked his way up. So I think Takeshita is one of the only guys who they have not botched in AEW. Really, all of his shit's been pretty good. Kevin Knight, dude. Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey are lower now so Mike Bailey had more clout before AEW when he was having bangers in TNA and in other places with Will Ospreay and these other guys. Tony took him and just made him a tag guy. He's literally like, he's diminished himself to be there other than his bank account. O'Reilly, the fuck are you talking about? O'Reilly is the exact same as he's been other than an OG Ring of Honor. Was O'Reilly a world champion? He's always just been like a mid tag guy, upper mid, if you really need him to be, tag guy. He's not elevated. Mox didn't do shit. I know people go, Mox put these guys over and elevated them. No, he didn't. Where's the rub? Where's the boost? What? Okay, he put him over. And then what? Mox keeps doing the same shit, and then he just wins the C2. And then turns babyface with no storyline. Just turns babyface while his crew are still heels. And then does these open challenge title eliminators. It did nothing for nobody. It didn't do anything for anyone. O'Reilly is in the same place he was a year ago. He's hurt. Okay? Swerve. Yeah, Swerve is now like in a tag team or whatever. Or I guess they abandoned that and then Hangman's in a trio. So yeah, Swerve is like a he's like a upper guy now, like upper mid guy, I guess. He just got taken to the limit by Kevin Knight, like who's a tag guy in AEW. You guys know what I mean? Like no one gives a fuck that they have these singles bangers. They've been presented as tag guys. So you have a tag guy taking your former world champion to the limit. So Swerve's lower on the card than he was before. Mark Briscoe, yeah, he wasn't allowed on TV. So yeah, he's up the card higher. Willow, no, she's down the card. She was featured way more prominently and prevalently. And she was like a factor, like week to week. You're hoping to hear Willow's theme hit. And now it's like, oh, Willow's back and you're in a 6-woman hardcore match. You know, she's worse. Windsor, Dave, literally was on Dynamite, challenging for the world title, immediately gets a push, loses the world title. ROH is now forming a tag team with Jamie Hayter. So that is the worst example ever. Cameron, so Harley Cameron, yeah, she's further up the card, for sure. She's further up the card. Storm and Shafir. Shafir is not. She's nowhere near. She's just the same thing. She's always come in and just been like there, kind of around where she's always been at, you know? She's never really gone above, like, unless Moxley's around the world title, that's the only world title she's around. She's not elevated in any way. She's does this garbage shit, even though she's a real shooter. And she's still not that great at wrestling. And yeah, definitely not. And then Storm, nah, she was world champ and she was more over even on her journey to the world title. And then when she had the world title, and then she bounced the world title a couple times, and then now she's in the tag division, Dave. So she would objectively be lower down the card because the tag titles don't mean more than the fucking world title does. Or even the TBS now, does it? So, no, I would say Storm is lower down the card. And that's what fucking Brian's saying. You're in the exact same place on the card. And yeah, so Dave completely, I just smashed that to oblivion, Cree. And he's completely fucking coping over that and just talking out of his ass. Moving along here. Speaking of Tony Storm, Dave says this is the first show I've seen where Tony Storm came out and they didn't go crazy. And yeah, unfortunately, like she's sort of sullying the gimmick, and the character's out there and I appreciate her going out there and like being entertaining, and she did something different and it worked, but she needs to go back to like the OG timeless thing, or I don't know. She's not helping Mina, and like they're just in a tag team now, and Mina's cool by herself. She could be cool in a tag team as well, I guess, but it's obviously not working so well. And I don't know. I feel like they had heat with Mina as well with the whole Blake and Tony Storm shit, and then they never really capitalized on it. Like when Blake left, Mariah May, it should have just been Tony and Mina can slide right in and carry that along and like continue shit that was working. Like they hey, I'm here for the girls making out and shit. I'm all for, but because there was more to it than just that. Not Monet when she's like doing food spots every week is fucking just dumb, but like there was more to it than that, and they were trying to tell a story. And Tony Storm, I said it a bunch of times, if you go back and listen to those reviews, like Tony Storm's more entertaining just standing in front of the camera in black and white and doing funny stuff and like just doing things than like 90% of the show is. I would just watch a whole Tony Storm show of her just doing shit in the past. They're not going crazy for her. Now, if you guys remember in a Sicko segment on one of the recent PWT episodes, I forget which one, I covered how this one dude, I think Righteous Reg, was saying like, man, we got to start blaming the fans. They don't react to women. Like Tony Storm got no reaction and shit. or unless it's Tony Storm, they don't react to any women and da-da-da. And it's not that, buddy. Okay? In WWE, you can see firsthand how Roxanne went from no reaction to reaction. Julia went from reactions in NXT to fucking no reaction on the main roster. We've seen this happen. Zelina Vega, fucking nobody reacting to a goddamn thing she does. We've seen her get some of the biggest pops ever in Puerto Rico. So it's just the booking, guys. You don't blame the fans. You don't say, oh, they just don't like women's wrestling. Nope. Women are hot as fuck, and they are, some of the women are some of the best wrestlers. Io Sky is one of the best wrestlers in the world. It's just a matter of like how people have been booked, and exactly what Bri was saying. Like, everyone's stuck in the mud. And Tony clearly has regressed. But Dave's like, Tony's a better spot in the card than she was. She's in the exact same spot. I guess Dave's right on a technicality where I guess they all, if you want to count people being further down the card than they were before, yeah, I guess they're not in the same spot. But anyways, Brian again holds Tony Khan's booking accountable here to some degree.
I got to say this one thing. This is the first show I've seen when Tony Storm came out and they didn't go crazy. I think that this tag team has really hurt her. You know,
well, it's not just the tag team, but like she gets beat up every match. When the match is over, it happened again here. Marina comes out and chokes her out. I mean, they're booking her like a mid-card tag team wrestler is what the problem is. And people are seeing her now as a mid-card tag team wrestler.
That is correct. That is correct. She is not being treated as special.
So then when Brian said what he said before, Dave, and you quote tweeted it and said, and then named Tony Storm, you were literally lying and admitting you just felt it yourself. You just felt it yourself right now because you are just admitting that you just said you just spewed a lie out of your ass cheeks when debating Brian like a week earlier.
And so the people don't react to her like she's special anymore. And, you know, there are very few people in this company that have been able to get over as being special, you know, like a real superstar. And
because of the booking,
she was one of them, you know, who, you know, was elevated greatly. And
apparently Tony Khan was hands off on all that booking. And then ever since Tone's been saying, no, I'm hands on the Tony Storm booking. Look at where she's at now. Coincidence? Is that
the best guys, Tony Khan?
I don't think so.
I mean, she's still ahead of what she was a couple of years ago, but she's way down from what she was, you know, 4 weeks ago, even, let alone like 3 months ago.
So then when Brian said everyone's stuck in the mud like a week ago, or like in the same week or the week before you recorded this clip, he was fucking Brian's lying over there. Or you're lying. Like, come on, Dave, man. You just exposed your own fucking lie right there to everybody. It's clown behavior, man. And so speaking of the bad booking, you know, these two talk about Andrade and Stars, because I think Andrade, during his first run in AEW, he didn't do shit to elevate himself. I think the second AEW run he's doing way better at, like, they're using him as a star. And I think Tony lost Andrade and he realized, like, fuck, man, I fucked this dude up and he can really wrestle really fucking good. And he was on SmackDown and da-da-da. And so, you know, companies are willing to put up with a lot of bullshit for Andrade. Maybe not a lot all the time, but it's just funny how Andrade really smacked Guevara. And now he's like one of their main top dudes. CM Punk fucking bumped a table in front of Tony Khan, and Tony feared for his life. And Tone loves Andrade so much, who physically actually hit a guy backstage in AEW, who got fired from WWE for being wild, right? Sosa, bang, and he gets signed while still under a WWE contract, and Tone is just willing to fucking do anything to keep this guy employed, which good. I like Andrade, I always have, but it's just funny to see the contrast, like the favoritism in the backstage as well. But is Andrade babyface or heel? No one knows.
Is this guy a babyface or a heel?
It doesn't matter. Well, I mean, he's a heel if he's with Callis.
Well, hold on a second. He spent the first half of this match doing everything in his power to get people to boo him. Like, he'd take off his shirt and he's going to throw up, but then he won't.
Yep.
And then he spent the second half of this match doing everything in his power to get cheered. took off his pants, took the picture with the lady. I'm like,
well,
what are you doing, brother?
He came off as a babyface to me.
Yeah, by the end of this match, he was a total babyface.
He was a total cool babyface. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And that's fine. If he gets over as a babyface, cool. That's good. At some point, you got to figure it out. I mean, AEW, it's not, they're going to book what they're going to book anyway. I mean, as far as like, babyfaces can face babyface, heels can face.
So Tone's a fucking terrible booker.
Heels. It's
not that you can't have heels versus heels, babyface versus babyface, but it's like, it's typically an exception to the rule, and there's a reason for that, and there's a reason things are going backwards, and we can directly point to it. And because Tone just doesn't give a fuck, he's just booking for himself. And Twitter sicko bots that all mass deleted yesterday or the day before.
It's not a big deal, but the crowd will eventually decide, one way or the other, and they'll go with it. So if he's playing both ways, then what can you say?
Both ways, B.
Whatever the crowd does. I think the crowd's going to like him, though. Cool.
The crowd does like him. You don't have to think that. That's what they are doing.
Cool look and everything.
Cool look and everything. The same fucking look. He just wears gloves now.
But I like the presentation. It was far superior to his presentation anywhere I've seen since he left Mexico. I never really liked his WWE presentation.
In NXT, Andrade fucking ruled. But again, Dave's going, since he left, they're pretending this is Andrade's first run in AEW. And like Andrade, his first AEW run wasn't with the Matt Hardy family faction or whatever the fuck. Like, come on, bro.
In AEW, it was fine.
Of course, it was fine in the past when he was just a random guy. Like, do you hear how he words shit? His presentation everywhere sucked other than Mexico, where he was a big star. In AEW before his first run, it was fine, even though he was just like one dude in a group of like the Matt Hardy family collection or whatever the fuck it was called. And then he bought the faction from Matt Hardy or some bullshit. It was the worst booking ever. Fuck's sakes, man. Dave is such a sweeper. So they talked about the finish of AEW Dynamite, and Dave Meltzer. It's so funny the way he explains this. The idea is all the top guys want the world title. No shit, Dave. No fucking shit. No shit. That's what they want. Oh my God. The idea is like, and also Cody Rhodes just did this same shit, but I'm not going to knock it because here's the problem though. And I quote tweeted this. I was like, this is the most surface level elementary shit. And Dave's explaining it like, well, I'm the idea and I love this, Brian. Imagine that the top guys want the world title. Imagine that establishing the division and letting people know. And like making a TV show about fucking here's your world champ and he's like under duress right now because motherfuckers all are trying to challenge him left, right, and center. Imagine that, Dave. And not only did they just do this exact thing with Rhodes and then Drew won. So it's like, okay, repeat. And I know that like they did it in WWE, but Tone watches WWE religiously. So I know that that's what happened. But at the same time, I can't knock it too bad because that's always the point. But my problem is this goes without saying. It's like saying, oh, yeah, all the hockey teams want the Stanley Cup this year, guys. Oh, man, those fucking Avalanche, they're crushing it. They want the fucking cup this year. It's like, no shit. Every guy should be trying to be the world champ. That's like the thing that goes without saying. Otherwise, what are we doing this for? And then when you establish people are in the United States, like Tama Tonga goes, yeah, that U.S. title. So then we go, oh, okay. His eyes are on that prize right now. Like, okay, he's in this division right now. He's eyeing that up. And then we know. And in AEW, it just feels so fucking random. And so they do a good little piece of business throughout the show. Again, listening to PWT, I've been saying this forever. They need to know. It's just like good old wrestling shit, old school wrestling shit, or just what WWE does now. It's not even old. It's what the fucking Vision does every show and Rhodes does every show. But like you introduce your champion to start the show, or at one point, oh my God, the champion's here tonight. And then fucking later in the show, he gets confronted. And then later in the show, he's like talking to this guy. And then another guy's like, what's up? And then, yeah. So we're doing some WWE Hollywood shit here. Dave loves the ending. He loves how the show ended. They ended on a bit of a oh shit, what's going to happen next week? Dave loves it. So they're WWEing it up for the weekly TV show, which when I say WWE it up, I mean like, to steal from O'Shea Jackson Jr., Hollywood it up, right? Like you got to make the shit. It's a weekly TV show. So again, if you want to be a fucking super indie and have people wrestle till they collapse, Tone can do that in his basement. Tone can do that in his backyard. Tone could do that. He could team up with Mr. Beast and do a YouTube video. If you collapse, the first wrestler to collapse and die wins $5 million for their estate, right? Like you can just do that if that's what you want. That's some indie shit. Like you can go ahead and do that. That's fine. But if you want to say we're the challenger brand and we're on TV and we're mainstream and we're up there and we're a TV show that's actually like playing the game, like Tone, you've never even been playing the game. You guys ain't been playing the game since Punk came into the company. Like they were, when Rhodes left, they stopped playing the game. A little bit they were because Jericho's in there in the mix. And then when Punk came in, they're playing the game again. And then he fucking leaves. And then they've just been lost since then. And it's more than just like, the wrestling business. It's more than that. It's like, okay, you're a weekly TV show. Like, why are you taking up network space? Why do we got to hear about key demos and Dave spurging out about $3.6 million per week that nobody can prove if you're not going to treat it seriously? You're not, when we say WWE it up, it doesn't mean like copy everything they're doing, like pull a TNA and try and do the WWE on Netflix premiere, it doesn't mean do that. It just means like do a good weekly dramatic TV show. And yes, you can have a couple banger matches. Penta does it every week, but it's like you got to save a bit of it, right? Carmelo Hayes goes out there, Dragunov every week, they have bangers, but you got to save a bit of it for the PLEs. Less is more in that regard. I've always said AEW would benefit from this. Completely off TV, do a YouTube show if you want, do every 3 months, one big pay-per-view, do 4 a year, and they're like these super cards, and you work with WWE, go, hey, and maybe they won't allow it. Maybe they go, no, fuck this company still. Okay. But you work with every company. You're the fucking Tone could have facilitated where he's the super indie that does sell pay-per-views. Like, yeah, dude, 200,000 people tune in to fuck us. Yes. That's a Bonnie Blue pay-per-view or whatever her name is now. 200,000 people tune in to fucking watch us do this super indie where we get all the people from around the world that you wouldn't see and put actual dream matches, because that's kind of what All In was. And that's kind of what the direction they were going. And it's like, if you're not going to do the weekly TV thing, which they did good early on, man, with like Jericho shit and Rhodes' stuff, they were cooking, man. They were. Yeah. As of now, like Dave is putting over this WWE cliffhanger, not a cliffhanger, but just like a ooh type ending they did and theme that they had throughout the show. Or not even a theme, but just like these are like the beats to this story. MJF's getting confronted. These are the guys. There might be a 4-way down the line. They might have a specialty match. Maybe Tony Khan comes up with his version of the Elimination Chamber or something. Who knows? But yeah, Dave really liked this. Go figure.
I really like the finish of that show. They're trying to make it to where the idea is that all the top guys want the world title. And I think that that makes for, just a more interesting thing. I really like that.
A more interesting thing. Yes, the storyline is more interesting, Dave.
Last half hour of the show was awesome because that match was great. And I wasn't expecting Andrade to win, but I thought that there was certainly a chance of it just because it's a cross up and they like to do some. He's liking to do cross ups more now.
Cross ups. That's a new Dave. It's a cross up. What's that? Is it like a swerve? Yeah, it's like a swerve. A cross up. He's doing more cross ups now. Okay, so he's actually trying to fucking book some shit that gets people interested. And he sees that people are behind Andrade and he's actually running with it for once. And he's actually positioned Omega and Hangman. You have guys in line for MJF for once. And it's not this fucking shitty devil bullshit. Or you want to talk about bad knockoff WWE, that devil shit, bro. Oh my God.
And it was one that would have worked, and it did. Although at the same time, I kind of almost think that, they had so much momentum with Kevin Knight that maybe they should had Kevin Knight win and put him in that spot instead.
Oh my God,
because-
no. They had such good heat with Kevin Knight. No, stupid. In one match, the crowd went crazy for him versus Swerve. There's like 1,000 people there. No, Kevin Knight's a tag guy. All they did was diminish Swerve with that match.
That would elevate Kevin Knight like crazy if he was the one of those guys and he was facing Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega and Andrade should have a program because if you remember, Andrade laid him out all those months
Yes, he
ago.
did.
Man, Grok fucking Meltzer.
And they
Which I
have
don't
not
think has been mentioned.
It has not been mentioned at all. And they're wrestling next week.
Yeah, it hasn't been mentioned. They're wrestling next week. Terrible booking and promoting. The worst promoter. Way to promote your promotion and tell the story of fucking Andrade and Omega gets attacked and now they're wrestling next week. And let's just not touch on that or anything until it like.
And when Andrade won, they absolutely should have mentioned that, this is not just an eliminator match or whatever, in this tournament, but a grudge match as well.
Yeah, like have Kenny cut a promo on him. It's the worst booked show. That's why that's why they don't do that shit. Because it's terribly booked. Just admit that part, Dave, and then we can all fucking move along, and then we'll stop calling you a fraud for a day. So Dave Meltzer again, and I called this again. I called this before it fucking
This just
happened.
in, we have confirmed that Dave Meltzer fears PWT and flutes.
So last year's or whenever season 1 of Unreal, what did Dave do? What did we chronicle here on the show? Him and Brian cried because they saw the promotion. The clip from the show that they used for Unreal for season 1 was them setting up the iShow Speed thing or who was it? Was it iShow Speed in the Rumble? I completely forget. One of these influencers was in the Rumble, right? And he goes into, and then what Unreal does, like, is it showed in the trailer them, like him going into the backstage and then being like, hey, Speed, you want to go out there? And then he's like, yeah, sure, I'll go out there or whatever the fuck, Akira can't wrestle or whatever. And they showed that as part of the promotion for the Unreal show. And then Dave got worked by it, like by a commercial, and they got triggered about it. And they're like, that's clearly the phoniest thing ever. And then when you watched Unreal season 1, it showed you that how they set that up and that was a phony thing that they set up and how they planned it and pulled it off and all this shit, right? You guys remember that? And then Dave Meltzer, when him and Brian were talking about it further, and Dave was talking about Unreal's full of shit and, oh, this is just preposterous and blah, blah, blah. And I called it out. I said, Dave didn't watch it. You can tell by the way he's talking about it. And you can tell by the way he hasn't corrected himself on any of this shit. He just watched people uploading the clips on Twitter. 100% true. Now, Dave, and then he told Brian's like, did you watch it? And he's like, well, I saw some of it there, the first, 30 minutes. And it's like, dude, it's an hour-long episode and there's like 8 episodes or whatever, so you didn't watch any of it. You just watch clips on Twitter. And I maintain the same thing, that WWE is put on in the background for Dave while he writes about AEW and other shit. And he just half pays attention, I guarantee, just the way he talks about it and doesn't know ever what he's saying. We're seeing clearly. And so again, Garrett, my quarter Mexican friend, Brian, Dave talks about Unreal season 2, and I called it out. I was like, watch, Dave is not going to watch it again, which you would think this would be Dave's favorite fucking show because he's such a backstage enthusiast and he knows the ins and outs and he's the student of every aspect of this game who's never taken a bump or doesn't know a wrist lock from a wristwatch. And you would think this was the greatest show of all time, Dave. It's bookmarked #1 in his fucking library, ready to go.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Because fucking he loves the backstage stuff and he's a mark for that stuff. It's like me, dude. I'm into like old Hollywood. I like the Chevy Chase doc. I'm into these fucking actors and, I like writing and shit. I'm one of these fucking, I'm into comic books. So when they drop fucking, docs or whatever, I'm into that stuff. I'm into the fucking MC. I go and see everything. I make sure I'm up on my shit because I fucking enjoy it, right? It's shit I enjoy. You would think Dave, who's like the backstage know-it-all hound, would like be eating up every second of the show. And let's say it's all fake and not real. Okay, Dave, then fucking dissect it. Watch every episode, take notes, and explain how your backstage expertise. It's funny because I didn't see you back there, Dave. I didn't see you one time back there. So let's see how your fucking expertise breaks down how it's all fake and phony in this fucking reality show then, Dave. You'd think he'd be all over this, but he isn't. But I guarantee you he watched AEW All Access and clapped like a little fucking baby with keys jingling in front of him the entire time.
I actually like what I've seen, you know,
And he says, I like what I've seen. Dave, you didn't watch every episode? You didn't watch every episode. They even split it up, and they're doing the Gina Carano, Ryan. They're doing the Cena stuff this summer.
for the most part. I mean, I saw the Ron Killing stuff, which
Ron Killing stuff. So the stuff that went viral on Twitter. From what I've seen, I actually like it. The Ron Killing stuff. Okay, so you skipped ahead 4 episodes. That was like 4 episodes in. So you just watched the shit that went viral on Twitter. Called it out. I fucking knew this was going to happen. I called it. And when they got triggered by the season 2 trailer, I called out that they're getting triggered by shit that is fucking dumb and they should just watch the show. And then Dave didn't watch the fucking show. Brian and then Dave buried it. It's all so phony. I mean, those whiteboards, geez. So the whiteboards, so all the fucking Twitter sleuths posted the whiteboards and the truth and Road Dogg stuff. And that's the only stuff you know about the show? Okay. Yeah, that's not fishy at all. There's over 400 people watching this show right now. Dave Meltzer, Dumb Moment of the Week, across X and YouTube. YouTube.com/@ProWrestleClips. Hit like and subscribe. And I guarantee you that they all saw the Road Dogg stuff or the Ron Killing stuff and the whiteboards too, Dave, okay? Because that's the fucking only thing everybody saw, you know?
I enjoy Ron Killing's came off so great. I did enjoy that. I'm trying to think what the other stuff, the Seth Rollins stuff.
I'm trying to think of the other stuff. The Seth Rollins stuff. So you mean the stuff from the trailer that you and Brian got worked up about? So the Seth Rollins stuff was great, and the Ron Killings and the whiteboards. All the stuff that means you didn't have to watch the show to know about it. Crazy how that works.
I saw a lot of that.
A lot of that. What does that mean? So you watched the episode. I saw a lot of that stuff. Dave, you know that the show isn't just like multiple episodes following all the same people. Like, yes, when they introduce Trinity Fatu, they might go back to her later in the series, but it's not like every episode is typically themed across 2 wrestlers or one scenario in particular with like one wrestler. So yeah, they introduce Lyra in an episode and then maybe later they focus on her a little bit more, but like Dave understands that, right? I saw a lot of that stuff. So you saw the Truth episode or you just watched the clips on Twitter? Exposed.
I've seen the whole thing. I mean, I still, when I watch it, feel it's like this, I feel like it's produced by Paul Levesque for Paul Levesque. I mean,
no, it's not. It's a huge hit on Netflix. It's a massive success for Netflix, and it's a show produced for casual people or people who really like the behind the scenes. This is the E True Hollywood fucking. You guys remember those? The E True Hollywood docs? True Hollywood stories. I fucking loved those, man. So it's for people who are into that sort of thing. It's like for really hardcores and for like casual motherfuckers who like drama and also it's for people who like the sports docs that see the coaches running the players and the fucking, and even girls like that shit. Girls like these cheerleader competition shows. You're seeing more of those pop up where it's like the drama between the girls and so that's what it is. It's showing the real life of the wrestlers and like the coaching behind. Dave, of course, Patrick Mahomes would endorse him and he'd be a top sports reporter, and he doesn't understand this at all.
But I like the show, and it's interesting to watch the different people.
That's why they call it a Netflix sports series as well, as you guys can see on the graphic, because it's for the people who like those coach shows and shit. I've heard rumors that like that show is one of the top things that they got out of this WWE deal from Netflix is like this show crushes it. I don't know how true that fucking is, but they broke this season up into 2 sections and the next section doesn't come out till summer and it's all focused on Cena. So that's obviously going to do numbers too.
At work in the office and their little roles and everything like that. And
their little roles. It's like people in the office and their little roles. That's how Dave looks at, how cute these guys do in their little roles. Meanwhile, Tony, the head booker, writer, creative, runs the Jaguars. All these guys in their little roles. Dave, you fucking sit there and fucking talk shit on your couch and phone into your own show and are balding. That's what you do, okay? They're little roles. They're running a public multi-billion-dollar fucking conglomerate, enterprise, multifaceted and all forms of media fucking entity, global entity. And their little roles back there, you know, managing these shows that draw millions of fucking dollars and millions of fans and these superstars who make millions of dollars. You're a fucking clown, buddy. And what's your little role, Dave? Coming up with 75% off this month only on The Observer. And then next month, I know, 50% off this month only.
Like that. And, you know, people can look at it and I think they can see the weasels and the non-weasels. You know what I mean? So I think
I'm looking at it right now, dude. I see the weasels. We see the weasels and the non-weasels. The weasels. Why are you calling these? Paul Heyman would punch you out. Why are you calling him a fucking weasel? Why are you calling fucking Triple H, who will punch you out, dude, if it came down to it? Why the fuck would you call them any of these guys weasels? You see the weasels. Who's doing anything weaselly? What you're doing is literally weaselly, Projector Dave. They're just all back there having creative meetings and shit. Like,
in that sense, you know, you can look at it and there's stuff that you can see, you know, that's interesting.
Yes, it's a TV show, Dave. There's stuff that you can see on the TV. Yep.
I mean, the big one obviously is just how often they change plans.
So that's a good thing. How often they change plans. Dave's trying to pat himself on the back. Dave, all it proves, yes, everybody's always known that WWE changes plans all the time. Okay? Now, where it's a problem is when Vince is ripping scripts up hours before. But yes, a month out, they changed the plan for WrestleMania. 6 months out, a year out, the WrestleMania plan changes depending on people's lives, injuries, ideas, what gets over on TV and what doesn't. Yes, things change. It's ever evolving. It's live. It has to. Just because Tony Khan quickly scribbles out a card in his hotel room 3 days before a show, and then he quickly asks you if it's a good card, and then he tells everyone, quick, fly in. I need you all at this TV. And then he does the show. It doesn't matter. He has short-term shitty plans. How much they change plans? Because I was right about the stuff they erased off the whiteboard. And I've exposed this. Pure and simple. Whoever is Dave's designated stooge is just that. And they just tell him shit. Because when they were filming the show, that's not when Dave said the plan for Mania is this. It was like right before this show comes out, Dave is saying shit. And then you see it on the whiteboard from like a year ago. Dave's saying it now, but is like things are changing and shit. Dave, once they erase shit off the whiteboard, then you get it leaked to you and they make you look fucking stupid. And you're trying to pat yourself. Boy, they changed so much plans. Yeah, that's what you do for pro wrestling. That's what happens on movies too. Okay? That's why actors do things like they get it written in their contract. They can't change the title of this movie or whatever the fuck because studios come in and change a bunch of shit all the time. It's called making good art. You know, and some of it is hit and miss. Some of it is the shits. WWE's operating, firing on all cylinders, clearly. Yeah, there's a couple things. Kiana James and Julia, that shit sucks. I totally understand. But for the most part, they're clearly making it work. And you're like, oh boy, they'd sure change a lot of plans. Yeah, because when Rollins blows his fucking knee out or shoulder out, you got to change the plan, Dave. And then they go and leak to you what the old plan was. And then you report on it matter-of-factly, extrapolate a bunch of bullshit that doesn't exist and pretend it was factual or something you heard. And then go, no, they changed plans. I'm never wrong. It's terrible, man.
Oh, and Bruce, of all the guys, you know, I mean, like he was, plans change, you know, whenever they've changed plans, and I would say it, you know, he's make this thing, and then you're watching the show and you're seeing these lineups, and man, those plans, they change a lot more than I say it, that's for sure. So
no, Dave, that's those plans, they change. What plans? There was like fucking a couple cards people went, oh look at this. Like, come on, man. There was like 2 pictures went viral where it's like, oh, so they were planning Roman versus this guy, and they change more than either. Yeah, Dave, because what they're showing you on Unreal, you're seeing like the first week of their ideas, And then like 3 months later, and they jump all over time. Dave would know this too if he watched the show. The show in and of itself, they jump back in time. They have the graphics with the calendar where they go, okay, here, now we're back at Raw. And then here's the build to Saturday Night Main Event. And then we're back here. It's just, he needs to just watch the show or shut
You
the
know, I
fuck
mean,
up.
I think that, that kind of exposed something right there.
Exposed what? That they changed plans on the wrestling show. Oh man, can you believe it? The football team changed plans. They were going to go out and run these plays, but then they played their backup QB and the guy's throwing long bombs on us, so we can't just blitz their fucking starter like we thought was going to work. Oh man, those like the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Who gives a shit? And then Dave back in the day would say it was a problem that they plan things too far out in advance. That's like old school Observer. He's Vince plans it out way far in advance, and if it's not working, they just like rough their way there and shit. And now the plans change and it exposed them. No, you just exposed you didn't watch the show, Dave. That's literally all it exposes. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is why we roast Dave. That's why we will never stop roasting Dave Meltzer. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Dave Meltzer dumb moment of the week. He got cooked. We cooked him. He's melted. He's schmelting. He's done. He's cooked.